brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Where Everything Good in Life is Worth Talking About. This is good old gal Julieanna, and joining me today at the table, are my co-hosts, good old boy Dave.
Hey. Sorry, I'm kind of down.
Really? We're drinking good beer today.
Yeah, I know, but I only get like little sips.
You'll get more later, dear. Okay, cool. Good old boy Kendall, how are you today?
I am so excited to be here, and especially because we're talking about beers from my home state.
Woohoo! And good old gal June, how are you today?
I'm good.
Cool. Well, Kendall and June have a beer blog together, and we'll be hearing more about that later on in our episode. Today's episode is a Suds segment, and it's all about beer, and possibly a side of beer. Today's episode is a destination show. We'll be tasting beer from several breweries from the great state of
Belgium.
Wait a second. Belgium is a country, Dave, not a state.
Oh, Denver?
Hey, that's a city.
Oh, okay. Must be
Michigan, Dave. It's all about Michigan today.
Michigan. Do they even have beer in Michigan?
Dave, one of your favorite beers of all time comes from Michigan, the Carhartt Woodsman.
No, June. Carhartt Woodsman comes from Holland, and that is a country.
Dave, it's from New Holland, which is a brewery in Michigan. Holland, Michigan.
Holland, Michigan, eh? You might explain why they've never answered any of my fan letters.
Wow.
You married it.
Thanks for the reminder, Kendall. Anyway, we'll be discussing 9 beers from 9 breweries today. These are mostly smaller local breweries that you may not have heard of, but if you haven't been up to that neck of the woods, but you really should check them out. Some of us here today have been up in that neck of the woods, and we'll share some stories about our visits along the way.
I've never been to Michigan.
And I'm sure after today, the entire state is breathing a sigh of relief.
Well played, June. Well played. Kendall, why don't you give us the rundown of breweries and beers we'll be discussing today while Dave tries to think of some kind of comeback?
Sure, happy to. Our lineup today is from beers that I picked up several beers while we picked up in Michigan, and my goal was to not get anything from Bell's, Founders, or New Holland. Those beers are fantastic, but I can get them in Tennessee. So I've picked up several of these, and Julieanna picked up a few. But today our lineup is Arbor Brewing, Jackhammer Old Ale, Arcadia Ales Lockdown Scotch Ale, Greenbush Anger Black IPA, Keweenaw Widowmaker Black Ale, Motor City Brewing Works Ghettoblaster Mild Ale, Oddside Ales Bean Flicker Blonde Ale, Perrin Brewing's Hotbox Brown Ale, Right Brain CEO Stout, which is a great coffee stout, and Wolverine Premium Lager.
Thanks, Kendall. Today, good old gal June is going to discuss her Suds ratings.
And she's going to do it in the voices of famous Michiganians.
Michiganians?
Sure. People from Michigan are called Michiganians or Michiganders, but who wants to sound like a goose? There are many famous Michiganians to choose from. Ted Nugent, Tim Allen, Lucy Liu, Eminem, Madonna, Michael Phelps.
How would she sound like Michael Phelps? Like she had a mouthful of water?
Or weed.
Kendall, Dave, we already have one you. We don't need another you. June, please go ahead with whatever voice you would like to use.
I'm going to use my own voice, if that's okay.
Good call.
We'll be tasting and discussing these beers and rating them with these Suds ratings, plus our signature belching sounds. Here are those ratings now. Suds ratings are: number 1, that sucks, give me anything but a bud. Number 2, was that a belch? Number 3, ah, what a relief. Number 4, a body should really not make that sound. And number 5, listen to that hang time, give me another.
Wow, June, that was impressive.
That was really impressive. Great job. Well, let's get to some beer. Up first is good old gal June with our first brewery and first beer.
All right, the first one today, the Arbor Brewing Jackhammer Old Ale. Honestly, I didn't think I would like this one because I'm not a fan of old ales. And then I read the description and I was like, I don't know. But then I tasted it and I really do like this one. It had a rich malty sweetness, had a little hint of rum in there, a little bit of subtle chocolate, and then a really nice dry, spicy finish. And it ended up being one of my favorites of the group here. So I was very surprised by that.
How did you rate it today, June?
I'm going to give that one a 4.
Nice. How about you, Kendall?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this beer. I like a good old ale, and it's hard to find a good old ale.
Well, you're a beer judge, so, I mean, what are the common characteristics of an old ale as far as the style?
You know, old ale is just it's a big, rich English-style beer. Very high alcohol. A lot of them have a characteristic oxidation, which is because of the aging. Maybe pick up a little bit of that. Either you could call it papery, but when it gets really good, it's more like a sherry flavor. And it's not a barley wine. It's like a step before you get to barley wine, and it doesn't have the hop character that a barley wine has. But I found this to be a great example of an American interpretation of a classic British old ale, and I could drink many of these, which would be dangerous because old ales are big, and this is 8.5%.
Oh, that's why I like it.
It doesn't taste that way. It's got a little warmth to it, but not a lot of heat.
Yeah,
and you could drink probably a couple of these and be laid out for a while.
Yeah,
That's right.
I would definitely be.
But I think, like I said, it's a good old ale, and they're hard to find. And I was giving this one a 5.
Whoa. Nice. Cool. Well, I kind of agree with a lot of what you guys said. I tend to find oxidization a bit off-putting in most beers because it's usually a flaw. But in old ales, as Kendall said, it is a characteristic that is acceptable. And in this one, I think it was just the right amount, and it actually accentuated the flavors and didn't detract.
It's subtle.
Yeah, it's just right there. I thought this was a really good beer. It's very drinkable, and it definitely does not drink as big as it actually is as far as the ABV.
Actually, I misstated. It's 8.25, so...
Oh, well, yeah.
It's nearly a session beer.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say
No
it
big
drinks
deal.
more like an 8.25 beer than 8.5. So, wow, thanks, Kendall. Anyways, I would give this beer a 4. If I could hit the right button. Good old gal Julieanna.
I really enjoyed this beer. And again, old ales are a very strange style, and you either do them well or you do them horribly.
Exactly.
And a lot of times they end up being a little medicinal for me,
Yes.
if that makes any sense.
Yes.
But this one was very smooth, very clean, very dark, fruity, caramely, but not heavy in the mouthfeel. So it really kind of shocks me that it is that high of an ABV. Because seriously, I can get in big trouble with this one.
Oh, yeah.
So, guys, you did a great job with this beer, and I give this a 4. Cool. Kendall, why don't you talk about the next one?
The next beer we have is a Lockdown Scotch Ale from Arcadia in Battle Creek. And Battle Creek is also where Kellogg's is located. So
A little fun fact.
a lot of cornflakes come out of Battle Creek. When I was a kid, I toured the cereal factory. It was fun.
Oh, wow.
But Battle Creek has got a great beer scene. They don't get some of the attention that like Grand Rapids or Kalamazoo do, but they're in the same area. It's about 20 minutes down the road, but it's a nice Scotch ale. I liked it. A lot of fruity yeast esters in there, a little bit of plum even, and some biscuit, some toffee. It was. It's got a little nuttiness, roastiness, all of those things you want in a Scotch ale, which lean very heavily towards the malt side, but yet it had just a nice little bit of bitterness in the finish. But Scotch ales, they've never been my thing. It's one of the styles that I know a lot of people like them, but it's hard for me to find one I really like. But I think they did a good job with this one, and I would say it's a 4.
Dave?
That's what we call a dramatic pause.
Yeah, exactly.
I am a big Scotch fan, and I'd love to tell you more about it soon.
Okay, we'll be right back, and you can talk about it. Welcome back, everyone. And we're in the middle of talking about an ale, a Scotch ale. And Dave, what would you like to say about this?
No, I'm just kidding. So Lockdown Scotch ale. I'm a big Scotch ale fan. I like the malty sweetness of them. Hops don't really grow all that well in Scotland, so most of their beers traditionally have leaned more towards the malty side. Sometimes they will use, herbs and spices, and not like KFC, but
Thistle.
Yeah, thistle, heather, that other stuff, myrtle, bog myrtle. I think that's her name.
Yeah.
I don't know. I met her once. She was nice. But Scotch ales. So, it was really good. It was pretty close to what you would look for in that style, and I think it was a very, very good interpretation of it. I would give this beer a 4. Trying to give it a 4. I did.
Cool.
Julieanna.
I really like this, too. And again, this is another style that can be either really good or really bad. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's so smoky that you can't get any of the malt profile in it,
or too sweet.
Yeah, or like sickening sweet almost, which is odd for a beer to be that sweet. Anyways, this I thought was a really nice interpretation, and it's malty. It's not overly sweet. You're getting a lot of biscuitiness in it, which I really like. You're also getting like a carameliness too, but not, and there's a hint of smoke, but not overly smoky. And I really like the blend a lot. I gave this puppy a 4. June, what did you think of it?
Yeah, once again, this is definitely not one of my favorite styles. Absolutely love the name, though. I think the Lockdown Scotch Ale is a brilliant name. But yeah, I ended up really, really liking this one. Like you said, like the kind of the smoky caramelness, but just very, very balanced, and not overly sweet. And yeah, I would give this one a 4. Really liked it.
For those of you at home who can't see the bottle, it is Lockdown, Loch.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we
Right.
said that, right?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't think we did. So
That's like-
yes, like Loch Ness monster.
Scottish for lake.
Yes,
So it's lake down.
like down.
Shakedown. Isn't there a song about that?
That's
Release.
Shakedown? Shakedown.
Oh.
Oh,
Never mind. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like roots down.
Okay.
Root down.
Moving on. Hey, Dave, why don't you talk about your anger management?
Man, I am
It's about time.
I am full of anger right now. Anger Black IPA from Greenbush Brewing. See how I did that? That's called being professional. Even though they don't pay me, surprisingly. Greenbush Brewing Company is in Sawyer, Michigan. I've never been there, but it sounds nice.
I have. It's about 15 minutes from where I grew up.
Really? I hear it's a pretty small town, southwest Michigan.
It is.
Yeah? All right. That's good. See, I'm glad they wrote the right stuff on their website. So, anger, it's a little aggressive. I would say that. I don't know if anger is the right name for the beer, but it's definitely it's an aggressive beer. It's very well hopped. Kendall got this one a few months ago, so it's been sitting in his fridge. But I will tell you, hop character and flavor usually does not hold up with time, but it has held up very well with this beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sound of me drinking it. Hold on. That's the sound of me drinking some more, just in case you missed the first one. So it's a good combination of the bittering hops, some dark roasted malts that add a nice complexity to it. It's a little bittering hop forward for me. I'm more of a flavor and aroma hop guy, but I do enjoy this beer. I would not buy pints of it every time I went to Greenbush, but I would probably buy one every now and then. And I do think if you like dark IPAs, I think this is a great example of that style. And just because I think it's cool, and their name is Greenbush, and I like that. I think that's a funny name. I'm going to give this beer a 4.
Thanks, Dave. Well, I thought
Do you work for Greenbush?
No.
Oh, you were thanking me, so I didn't know.
I just was thank you for your
Okay.
input.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
And if they told you Wolverines would make good house pets, would you believe them?
We're lucky, folks. We are so lucky. Well, my little take on this beer. I'm usually not a fan of black IPAs because they end up being a bit astringent for them being dark and decadent.
Yes.
But this one, it's like a theme with me. Every one that I taste, I'm like, I normally don't like this. However, this is one of those howevers because you get that hot profile. And for a sitting, as long as you said it was sitting, that's impressive in itself. It's hoppy, but yet I'm tasting grain. And I'm happy that I'm tasting grain on this one. And I liked it a lot, and I gave it a 4. Dave, I gave it a 4.
She gave it a 4, everybody.
Hey, June, what did you think of this one?
Hey, well, to continue with the theme, I didn't think I'd like this one that much either. I usually like the citrusy, floral kind of hops.
I have to say, June, you've gone into this whole thing with a very pessimistic attitude.
I'm pretty much a Debbie Downer, you
Yeah.
know.
I don't think I'm going to like you, but
But
you might,
I kind
you might
of
turn
do
it around.
like you. The toasty bitter hop, the earthiness of it, I really did dig this one. So I will give it a 4.
Yay!
Yay, June.
And Kendall, what did you think about this?
I love this beer. And maybe it's because it's from the great county of Berrien County, Michigan, where, like I said, just down the road from where I grew up. But I also love black IPAs when they're done well. It's probably one of my favorite styles. You're right, Julieanna, a lot of them aren't done well. But this one had really just prominent hops that just stood out as soon as I poured it. And like Dave said, we picked these up, and because of a few circumstances, we weren't able to record the show when we wanted to a few months ago. So this beers have been sitting in my refrigerator. And hops usually fade, but these haven't. And I like the bitterness of this that just pairs well within that rich malt. It's like, this is how you do a black IPA. We just, we were in Oregon fairly recently. It's a huge style out there. Not everybody does it well. This little brewery in Michigan is doing it great. And I love it, and I'm giving it a 5.
Wow. It's my turn. Yay. Okay, so I want to talk about a Widowmaker Black Ale from Keweenaw. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure myself.
Okay. So Keweenaw, which is in the charming town of Houghton, Michigan. Does that...
It actually doesn't ring a bell. Maybe it's a little
That would be a
small
cool TV show name, Hot in Michigan.
Hot in Michigan?
Hot in Michigan?
Wow.
You gotta say it fast.
I guess if you're by Lake Superior, it could be hot.
It might be Houghton.
Houghton. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Houghton.
So, Keweenaw, please forgive me if I pronounce your town wrong.
Just send us some beer with the correct pronunciation.
I just looked it up. It's way up north in the UP. That's Upper Peninsula for
Yeah,
those
yeah.
of you that aren't from Michigan.
Okay.
Way up in the UP, surrounded by
Call
Lake
it
Superior.
the UP.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Straight
Upper
up in the
Peninsula.
UP.
Well, anyways, okay. So this is a winter seasonal, and black ales. Okay, again, we were talking about them before. This is completely different than the last one.
Very much so.
Yeah. Now, I'm a fan of molasses. My Pennsylvania background, we always had molasses around.
Because you're slow? Oh.
Thanks, Dave. Now everyone knows my handicap. Really, buddy. You're sweet. But this one is very, very molasses forward. I mean, I get a little bit of hops, but I get a lot of molasses. And although I really like this, I don't know if it's, really true to style in the scheme of things, and the BJCP would probably come down and throw a hammer on this beer. But I like it, I'm enjoying it, and I'm finding myself sipping it because of the molasses content in it, if you will. I'm giving this a 4.
Good old gal June.
I kind of didn't like this one. Maybe I don't like molasses. I'm not sure.
You might not.
Yeah.
You don't seem molasses-y.
She's a runner, so she has to go fast.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a very fast runner, but
Whatever.
yeah. So this one was definitely not my favorite one of the bunch. I found it a little thin, so I hate it. But I'm going to give it a 3.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Kendall, what do you think of this?
I'm kind of the same way. It's a good beer. I don't think it's a great beer, and it's not, anything in particular is wrong with it. It's just the flavors I'm expecting out of a black ale are not there. It almost seems more like a rich brown.
Yeah.
Maybe like a sweet, even a porter. But when I saw black ale in the can, I'm thinking leaning towards the black IPA side, and it's totally different.
Yeah, it is.
But I admit I'm not a fan of sweet beers, and I think it definitely has a huge molasses flavor, and I think that's maybe what's getting me. So that's a 3 for me.
Dave, what do you think?
Well, first off, let me say that for the record, the reason Kendall doesn't like sweet beers is because he's already sweet enough.
Oh, I'm sure that's what it is.
Really? And you know this because...
Hey,
well...
Not saying
let's not make this weird, okay?
Too late.
Exactly.
But I think the important thing about this beer is that they called it a black ale instead of a black IPA, and honestly, there's not really, to my knowledge, like a really, like, black ale's not even really a thing.
It's not a well-defined style.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, before they called black IPAs, they called them, what is it,
Cascadian
Dark Ales.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like that, like where they're just saying, hey, we made this beer, it's a black ale, that's what it is. It's black and it's an ale, so, eat it. But I like this beer. I like the flavor and everything, but I think it's really cool that this is their winter seasonal. And generally, people make winter seasonals like wit beers or some kind of funky Belgian whatnot or something really light for whatever reason. But to me, winter is dark and black and thick and sad. So I like this beer.
Especially way up in the UP.
Yeah,
it's
if
pretty
I was
dark.
up somewhere they called everything
Sad
UP, then I would definitely not want like a wit beer during the winter. I'd want some big black ale, and that's what I think this is, and I enjoy it. So I'm going to give this beer.
What are you going to give this beer?
I'm going to give this beer a 4. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
Thanks so much for your input, as usual. Hey, June, what's your next beer?
The next beer is the Motor City Brewing Works Ghettoblaster Mild Ale.
I feel like I need a turntable
We'll be right
around.
back for some more of that hot Detroit sound.
It's a Detroit style mild ale.
Detroit style, yeah. So, love the name. The name's awesome. Mild ale, I mean, it's true to style. A little biscuity, little caramel. I mean, my notes just kind of say, I mean, it's not a bad beer,
Yeah.
but it's an okay beer. I'll give it a 3.
Sorry, we weren't going to accept that 3 at first.
Kendall, what did you think of it?
I really enjoy this for a couple of reasons. One, mild ales just don't happen a lot. Most people are not making them mild, and most people don't even know what a mild is. It's an old British style that, back in the day, they didn't have a lot of light malts. That's one reason Pilsners and other things like that came on the scene in the 1800s. Before that, the malts were pretty dark. And so this was like one of the lightest beers you were going to get in England in the 1700s. And it kind of is, if you think about the progression of British beer, you go mild, brown, porter, stout. So this is on the very low end, and most breweries aren't doing it well. And when they do make a mild, many times they taste like a brown ale. This one tastes like a mild. It's light, it's clean, and it has, the flavors I'm looking for in a mild, which is just a little bit of a toastiness, biscuity taste, like June said. The thing about a mild is it's light. You can't hide anything in it. So if you screw it up and have off flavors in there, they're going to show like crazy. But this is a beer that if you nail a mild, it's a beautiful style, and it makes a great, easy drinking beer. And I think it's a good mild, and I'm giving it a 4.
Ooh. Dave, what do you think?
So, the thing I do enjoy a really good mild, and I'm imagining
your tongue to work.
I can't imagine that. So I'm imagining this beer if it were a real ale.
That could be good.
On a cask. So on a beer engine.
Yeah, that'd be stunning.
Yeah, because I think something with this type of flavor and delicate flavors and things, if you were pushing it through on a beer engine where it was giving it that extra bit of velvety softness. I think that would make it even better. So if these guys ever do like just a small firkin or something of this, have it as a cask night beer or something, I think that would be phenomenal. As it is, I think it's a really good example of the style, and I enjoyed it, and I would like to have more of it. So I would give this beer a 4.
Well, I really liked it as well because, when you think of a mild, it's not that high of an ABV, and then you look at the color and it's, it's light in the scheme of things, but it does pack a lot of malt profile into it. I mean, there's a lot of flavor in here considering how thin it is in the mouthfeel, and I really enjoyed this. And again, it's, one of those where it's not done well a lot. So when it is done well, you're extra excited. So Motor City, you've done this one really well, and I would love to be able to be up there and see what they do if they had this on a pump, and if they. You don't think so?
No, I'm agreeing. I'm shaking my head the wrong way.
Okay, sorry. I'm like, no,
I can't
did I do
talk.
something wrong?
Yes.
I can't talk, and Kendall can't operate his neck. So apparently, the beer is doing what it's supposed to do.
It's a prime candidate for a cask beer. And it
Oh
could
my
be
gosh, yes.
fantastic
I
on
might
ice.
like it then.
Yeah. Anyways, I really enjoyed this. And the more, as it warms up, the more flavorful it gets, which really makes me drool about the prospect of it being a real ale. Anyways, I gave this puppy a 4.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this break.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. We were discussing the Ghettoblaster Mild Ale, but now, Kendall, let's move on. I'm going to flick it to you. You like that?
Yes, because we are going to talk about Oddside Ale's Bean Flicker Blonde. Oddside is from a gorgeous little town on the coast of Lake Michigan called Grand Haven, Michigan. If you know the area, it's about 30 minutes north of Holland, a little bit east of Grand Rapids, so it's a great beer area. And just a beautiful little town. Stop by if you ever drive through. But the Bean Flicker Blonde is a coffee blonde.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Wow.
There's some of the beers that make me go, and
Beers that make you go,
Wait, isn't there a song about that?
Yeah.
Actually, we did an episode about that.
Yeah, we did. So, I think it's one of those things you do because you can. Why would you put coffee in a blonde ale? It doesn't make sense, but, when the first time we poured this, I'm smelling just nothing but coffee, and the flavor is nothing but coffee, and it's a delicious coffee, and it's a good beer, but I'm still not sure why you put coffee in a blonde ale. So I'm not sure I get the whole thing, but it's a good beer. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm still just going, So
That's the BJCP in you.
yeah, it's like, why are we putting coffee in a blonde? I mean, there's a lot of people doing similar things like this, and they're calling it like a white stout, which, yeah, I guess that's kind of cool. But
It is a complete waste of talk.
But because it's two flavors I'm not expecting together, and also a blonde is a pretty delicate beer, so the coffee just overpowers and dominates it. That's all I'm getting out of it. And for that reason, that's why I'm giving this one a 3.
Okay. Hey, Dave, what do you think of this?
Hey, Julie, here's what I think of this. It's like so sweet. This is the sweetest beer I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of beers. You may not know this about me, but I've drank a few beers. Not just today, but every day for a lot of years. Yeah, so I really like blonde ales. They say gentlemen prefer blondes, and I'm definitely a gentleman. So shut up, everybody.
In some countries.
Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted. But I want to like this one. The aroma on it. If I was just smelling this beer, I would be like, this is awesome. It has a great aroma. But when I drink it, it's very hard for me to drink this beer. It's cloyingly sweet to me. So that I'm forced, against my better judgment, which I don't really have good judgment, but
not at all.
I'm going to give this beer a 2.
Ooh. Ouch.
Okay. Well, the smell is amazing. I mean,
Yes.
if I was blind, I would think I'm drinking a stout. Mm-hmm. However, the mouthfeel is completely different. And it was a little extraordinarily sweet for me. I also got like a lot of vanilla for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm thinking, what, did somebody OD on the creamer on this? Or I don't know. It's nice for what it is. And, I mean, this style is a new developing style in the scheme of things. Certainly not BJCP forward, but just a hair sweet for me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm giving this a 3.
Oh, wow. I just reenacted something.
Wow. June, what did you think of this?
I'm kind of the odd man out because I kind of like this one, but I mean I do like sweet coffee drinks, so
She does.
Pinky up.
yeah. I am a delicate flower.
Does it take you like 3 minutes to order something at Starbucks because of all the different words that go into it?
A little bit. But yeah, it is an odd style. I do get that. So
It is Oddside.
it is Oddside,
There you go.
an odd style for Oddside. So
Well
I mean,
played.
I probably will give it a 3, maybe a 3+.
Okay, I don't have that button.
Sorry, we'll just go with 3 then.
Okay.
I want to interject something here because, I mean, this of the flight has been the one it seems like we like the least. But I want to give a shout out to Oddside. They are a great brewery, and props to them for doing something experimental.
Yeah.
Their Citra IPA that I got a hold of was fantastic.
Yes.
And they're doing great beer, you know, in the tradition of great beer coming out of Western Michigan, which is the better half of Michigan, I will say.
Is that because you're from that neck of the
Absolutely.
woods?
Once again.
Only in Eastern Michigan. would I
Kendall
be
can't
banned.
show his face in Eastern Michigan. There's a
Yeah.
certain point that when he tries to go across it, his
But-
little ID bracelet kicks in.
Oddside, great brewery, great beer. This one's just maybe a little too experimental for us.
Well, I'll say this. I went to all the brewery websites just doing research. Yes, I did research. And I don't remember any of it. But here's one thing I do know. Oddside had one of the cooler websites, and it looks like they're doing a ton of beers. Like, I mean, seriously, they're doing a bunch of different beers. So they're definitely keeping it interesting for all the people around their area. So it's really cool.
Cool. Dave,
What?
your hair's aflame. Why don't you talk about the Hotbox brown ale?
Hotbox. All right. That's from Perrin Brewing. And let me tell you the information I gathered from their website. They're from Comstock Park, Michigan. There you go.
Okay.
So
What'd you think about this beer?
I thought that it had... Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. So Let me just say, Perrin Brewing Company, all right, write something about yourselves on your friggin' website so that I can read it on the radio. But you wrote something really good about your beer. They took some Hotbox roasted. Oh, okay. So Hotbox is a coffee company, I guess, in Michigan, probably near Comstock Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is also near Grand Rapids and another great Western Michigan brewery.
Oh, geez. Western Michigan. Oh, well. All right. So anyways, this beer is awesome. Okay, so if their website was as good as their beer, they'd probably get like 1 billion hits a day. I've never, Kendall and I were actually talking about it, and we'd never really had a coffee brown before, but it's amazing because the brown, like I'm a brown, and we're all very smooth and kind of laid back. And so then when you give us some coffee, it perks us up, and makes us even better. It's like Dave 1.5. So, no, seriously, I think it was a perfect vehicle for the coffee because it let the coffee flavor come through without fighting it. Sometimes when you do a stout or port or something, beer gets in the way. I probably stole something Kendall said, but whatever. I got to talk first. So, but anyways, I think it was a really good idea to use a brown for this coffee. And I think it was a really great idea to use coffee in this brown. Did I see what I did there?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm giving this one a 4.
Okay. Very good. I liked it a lot. And a lot of roastiness, considering that it was a brown ale. And I gave this a 4. June, what do you think of this?
Yeah, once again, like a brown ale is not one of my favorite styles. But yeah, that dark roasted coffee taste was really good. I did like that. I got just a little hint of chocolate in there. Mm-hmm. Not too strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely give this one a 4.
See, I hit it really good for her.
You did, yeah. Kendall, what do you think of this?
I love this beer, and Dave stole most of what I said so he could sound intelligent.
There had to be a way.
But, yeah, wow, what a style. And we were talking about, I don't know if I've ever had a brown with coffee in it. I mean, coffee stouts are a dime a dozen,
Sure.
even imperial stouts. Coffee porters are pretty popular, but a coffee brown really lets the coffee shine through. And I mean, a brown's great style when it's done well, but you put the coffee in there.
Me.
and this was so enjoyable. I think the coffee really gave it a delicious flavor. Sometimes coffee doesn't even work in beer. It's just not good coffee. But let me take another drink.
And this is actually good coffee. I mean, it's has
good coffee.
Yeah, it really tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah, this one's a great coffee beer, and definitely pick one up if you're in Michigan. But because it's such a unique coffee beer, and I love it so much, I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay, so it's me again. Yay! I know. I'm excited about this one because it is the Right Brain CEO Stout. And I love stouts. I love brewing stouts. I love everything about stouts. And I really like these guys because of the weirdness about them.
They are weird.
I know. They're
Very
weird.
weird.
The website is weird. The way in which they determined that they were going to be right-brained is weird. And, Miss Carter, if you're listening, thank you for influencing these boys to become the brewers that they are. This CEO Stout is, I don't know, I consider it just very beautiful. I taste the oatmeal. I taste the coffee. I got a nice mouthfeel to it, and it's just a party in my mouth. And
that's the best kind of party.
It is. It really is. And this puppy just really talked to me, and I'm giving this puppy a 5. Dave, I'm giving it a 5.
I'm sorry, I was tasting the beer.
June, what did you think of this?
Yes, I loved this one as well. Yay. I love stouts. I love coffee stouts. This is a great one. It's a great one, and I'm going to have to give it a 5 as well.
Yes. Yes. Sisters unite.
Right, sister. What you got?
Yeah, it's good beer from Traverse City, which is also Western Michigan. We got a streak going here. This is our third coffee beer in a row.
So this is actually a Western Michigan beer show.
No, we've had a few from the eastern side. In fact, the next one is definitely from the eastern side of the state. But yeah, Traverse City's a great town. Spent some time there when I was a kid. I love that area. And this is a great brewery making great beer. Although I'm not as excited about it as Julieanna and June are because it's a coffee stout. And, it's a good coffee stout. And
what does he know?
I believe someone used the term dime a dozen about coffee stouts.
Dime a dozen. Yeah, so, it's great coffee stout, but like I said, there's nothing really unique about it, but it does have great flavors, rich, roasty, chocolatey, a little bit of chocolate in there with the coffee, and that's why I'm giving it a 4.
Dave, 10 seconds or less, what'd you think of this?
So I found the coffee to be a bit muddled in the flavor. I was not impressed all that much, and I gave this beer a 3.
Oh.
10 seconds or less.
You suck.
You're the worst.
I know. Anyways. Okay. Kendall, give us the last beer, which I think is appropriate considering you're that team's fan.
Okay, this is the Wolverine. What's that, Dave? This is the Wolverine Premium Lager from Ann Arbor. Yeah, the home of the University of Michigan Wolverines, greatest college football team in the country.
Ever in life, forever.
Okay.
So,
in Michigan.
Go Spartans. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, I also went to Middle Tennessee State, so
they're the best football team in Ann Arbor.
It was really great to see my Blue Raiders beat the Spartans in the basketball little tournament they did there. But
there's a lot of
if there was if there was a clip for something in a derogatory way, it would be given.
Yeah, it's the flipping you off clip that I haven't found yet.
You notice I've got a theme here. I like my team's blue. So,
whatever.
But yeah, this is, we were in Ann Arbor. I tell a little story here. We were in Ann Arbor for June to go to certified running coach class. And I made a beer run. And, it was snowing like crazy. So people in Michigan call that.
Michigan?
Yeah.
What?
There was 11 inches of snow that day. And so people in Michigan call that going to the store to buy beer. Yeah, there's nothing spectacular, but this beer, I don't know, it's premium lager, and I hate to say this, but it almost tastes like a premium lager, which that style is defined by BJCP as Bud, Coors, Banquet beer, things like that. But I find more similarity with the macro lagers in this beer than I do the craft lagers. So. Not a huge fan. I'm giving this one a 2.
Dave, what do you think of this?
Green apples and crap. So I give it a 2.
Yeah, it's sad.
And sorry, I was lacking in this too. I gave this a 2. Mm-hmm. June?
Yeah, once again, my notes say,
Yeah,
so
it's sad because Wolverine makes great beer, just not this one.
Well, whatever. Well, I think this was really good considering. Well, I'm sorry we're out of time, and I feel bad that we're not going to get to Wolverine's Premium Lager, but... Wolverines! There you go. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes online, as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sip Suds Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every day at Sips, Suds, and Smokes. And our Facebook page is always buzzing with a lot of news. And I really want to apologize for running out of time. Wolverine, you guys are making good beer over there in Ann Arbor and the other side of the state. Thank you. Y'all go drink some Wolverine, too.
Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well.
Hey, Kendall and June, please tell us about your blog and how we can find it.
Okay, we blog at Beer Makes 3. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And we like to just share the good news of good beer with people who have not maybe heard it yet and to help them find their way. So hope you will find us online. Thank you.
It's a great blog. Everyone make sure you check it out.
I want to thank our host for joining us today, good old boy Dave.
Well, I'd like to take this time to speak on a couple of topics that I've really been thinking about, and that I really don't feel like we've covered all that well. Well, maybe I'll just not. So, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, good old boy Kendall.
It was a pleasure to be here, and it was really pleasurable to be able to talk about great beer from the great state of Michigan. I was really excited to do that.
And good old gal June.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. Cheers.
Well, I am good old gal Julieanna. Please tune in to our next episode and keep on chuggling.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.